Hello everyone and good morning. This is Rachel live from Kalkine Studios and you're watching The Early Trades, a show where we share with you a glimpse of the Australian share market at the open with global and domestic drivers triggering market momentum. Now the S&P ASX 200 index is up 0.3% so far this morning, with the tech sector up 1.4% on the back of a 3.6% gain for Afterpay. It benefited from a strong performance from the Nasdaq-listed Square and a positive research note from Macquarie today. Crown Resorts shares jumped 11% in a relief rally after the regulator ruled it can keep its casino licence. Star Entertainment caught an updraft in response to Crown's luck by jumping 6.4% with their shares. Lithium and iron ore miner Mineral Resources is down 3.9% after it warned of falling lithium shipments over the September quarter due to lockdown restrictions and excess rainfall. It also says iron ore prices received fell to an average price of $78.32 per dry metric ton over the quarter. So these are buoyant times for investors. The Dow and S&P 500 are at an all-time high. Australian stocks have their sights on an 8th gain from 9 sessions. Canada's benchmark index has risen an extraordinary 14 consecutive sessions, and the S&P ASX 200 closed yesterday at its highest point since mid-September and has had plenty of overhead room before it reaches its old August peak. Energy stocks have outperformed lately and should run again this season. The US sector put on 1.44%. Materials were also strong, rising 0.89%. Consumer discretionary surpassed both, and that's due almost entirely to Tesla. The US financial sector dipped 0.15% as long-term interest rates retreated. Utilities were also weak, easing 0.43%. Earnings and new listings will continue to provide much of the excitement here. Potential highlights among today's annual general meetings include Regis Healthcare, Redbubble, Bega Cheese, Polynovo and Pinnacle Investment Management. Quarterly reports are due from Evolution Mining, Northern Star, Ramelius Resources and Paladin Energy. Now today, let's look at what IPOs are going to be launched. There are 3 starters under orders this session. C29 Metals is first out the gate at noon. This company is a copper explorer with projects in New South Wales, South Australia and WA. GQG Partners is set to launch at 12:30 Eastern Australian time, and it describes itself as a global boutique asset investment firm. RemSense Technologies is due at 2 p.m. They're a tech services provider. Let us move now to more newsmakers from today. The Royal Commission into the suitability of Crown Melbourne to hold a casino licence has found the company is not suitable to hold that licence. Well, its licence will not be cancelled. This 652-page report from Commissioner Raymond Finkelstein QC said it would be able to operate for 2 more years under close scrutiny from an external monitor. The recommendation comes months after a New South Wales inquiry declared Crown was unfit to open its Sydney casino because it had facilitated money laundering and had been infiltrated by organised crime. Next up, Gold Road Resources has triggered a trading halt, pending an announcement regarding a material increase in the ore reserve at Gruyere. The trading halt will be lifted by Thursday following the announcement regarding the ore reserve increase. Moving on, iron ore and lithium producer Mineral Resources reports that it shipped 5 million tonnes of iron ore during the quarter at an average price of $78.32 per dry metric tonne. It said it is on track to meet 2022 production guidance of 21 million tonnes to 22 million tonnes. Its Mount Marion lithium mine produced 99.356 dry metric tonnes of lithium spodumene concentrate, and that was down 13% from the prior quarter. Shipments fell 54% on the prior quarter. It blamed the slowdown on excess rainfall, shipping delays, lockdown restrictions and a shortage of road haulage drivers. Next up, insurer Suncorp reports natural hazard costs incurred during July the 1st sit between $382 million and $492 million. That's after accounting for 5 declared storm events in October alone. Suncorp's full-year natural hazard allowance is $980 million. Well, on that note, it's time for a very short break, but I'll be back soon with some more trending news updates.
Hi there, James Preston for Kalkine TV. Are you into gaming and virtual reality? Does AI and the endless possibilities it entails capture your interest? Or are you constantly trawling through the web to try and discover the latest updates and innovations in the tech space? Well, let us do the work for you. From the latest product launches to shocking affairs on the World Wide Web, exclusive interviews and information about the top companies like Apple and Google to brand new tech startups vying for your attention. Kalkine's Tech Beat has the latest in what matters in the world of technology. Join me every single Thursday on the Tech Beat, exclusive to Kalkine TV.
Welcome back, I'm Rachel Jones and you're watching The Early Trades. Now, PNG-based LNG producer Allsearch has hiked September quarter sales up by 12%. It said gas and LNG prices increased 16% on the prior quarter. The LNG producer tightened its full-year production guidance to between 26 million barrels of oil equivalent and 28 million barrels of oil equivalent. Meanwhile, plumbing parts business Reliance Worldwide has announced plans to acquire US plumbing supplies business EasyFlow for $325 million on 12 times pro forma adjusted EBITDA. The deal will be debt funded using existing facilities with pro forma leverage tipped to increase to 1.78 times pro forma EBITDA. Reliance said the acquisition is priced 7 times EBITDA if you adjust for expected revenue and cost synergies. Moving on now, and Westgold Resources has applied to the Takeovers panel for a review of the panel's decision in relation to Gascoyne Resources. The panel had declined to conduct proceedings on Westgold's October the 13th application, the Gascoyne's merger with Firefly Resources, and the exclusivity provisions around that were an ability for the Gascoyne board to support a superior offer to the scheme, which requires the scheme to not proceed. Next in the news, digital jobs marketplace Freelancer reported gross marketplace volumes fell 6.2% in the September quarter for its core business. Freelancer blamed the fall on post-lockdown seasonality in the Northern Hemisphere as people left their homes more and worked online less. Gross payment volumes for its escrow business climbed 48.7%. The group reported an operating cash loss for the quarter. It didn't report its profit and loss statement. Next up, small cap market darling Alcidion has reported an operating cash loss of $3.4 million, and that's on the sale of $6.6 million for the quarter ending September the 30th. The digital healthcare group said it added $2.7 million in new contracted revenue for the quarter, of which $2.4 million will be recognised in 2022. And lastly, gold miner Regis Resources has stuck to full-year production guidance between 460,000 ounces and 515,000 ounces of gold. Sales hit over the September quarter as well. Well, that's all for now with the early morning trade. Stay tuned to Kalkine TV. We've got many more shows lined up for you with live updates across the economy, markets and sectors. This is Rachel signing off.